Hey, happy Friday. Thanks for joining us on the noon forecast. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and today we're talking about another round of storms across the Midwest. So we've got all hazards possible with this, anything from Michigan to Missouri. Very similar to what we saw this past Tuesday, just a few days ago. Most of those severe weather risks, or at least the better chances for severe weather, will be up in Michigan, but that chance does extend all the way down into Missouri as well. We have a low tornado risk in this area, so we'll keep an eye on that, but it is a pretty low chance. It's a small area, but hail risk is definitely on the board, and that high wind risk also on the board today. Also, the Atlantic is waking up, so those tropics are getting active, which I know is very exciting for some people who would like to see a little bit more activity out there. We'll take a look at it for you. I think that something that we've been talking about back here with the meteorologist is that once the Atlantic is on, it's on. We are going to see a lot of activity over the next few weeks, but we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Before we get into that forecast, I'm going to take a look at our Texas Roofing Conference, which I think we're about 2 weeks away from at this point. That goes from September 11th through the 13th. Get your tickets if you haven't already. And if you do have tickets, head over to our Facebook page. We have an event set up. We want you to tell us that you're coming because we're excited to see you there. We actually have an exclusive deal for the show for an annual plan. So go see Frank at booth 140 and he can talk to you about that exclusive deal for that show. All right, let's get back into the weather here. Talking about what we saw yesterday, yeah, we saw a ton of activity across Minnesota. Now, we saw these storms line up across Minnesota, basically breaking it in half down the middle. And this tornado, a few tornadoes actually warned right in this area, were really impressive. They were embedded in this long line of storms here. Very, very difficult to see, at times rain wrapped. I think one of the most impressive tornadoes that we saw was just to the north of Minneapolis here. Minneapolis itself got some really strong wind yesterday, but the hail reports really stayed out of Minnesota. I think we had some small hail in this area, but wind was the big story here. We saw hail farther down to the south, anywhere from Nebraska all the way up to northern Iowa. Now, that was not the only place that we saw strong to severe storms yesterday. Take a look out to the east. So this is Washington, D.C. We've got Cincinnati on the board here, North Carolina as well. Wind was the big story, except for one town just outside of Washington. This is in Sterling, Virginia. We saw some really impressive hail in this area. So on the Virginia side is where this storm started, and then it tracked almost straight to the north. A very, very impressive storm here, producing a ton of hail. So if you're interested in that hail map, head over to hailtrace.com and you can get set up for a plan to look at that. Oh, let's go back. Hang on. Maybe we'll miss our radar today. Ah, there we go. Okay, so, we've got some eager graphics today. Let's see if we can go forward here. One more time, graphics. Here we go. It's a Friday. We all need a little break, right? All right, here you go. Here's that front that we've been watching for the past 2 or 3 days. That is going to be your storm maker once again today. We have a high pressure system over portions of southeastern portions of the U.S., and that's going to keep you dry and very, very warm. And then, of course, we've got that rainmaker farther down to the south coming out of the Gulf and making a flooding issue down in Texas and Louisiana. Pretty quiet across the East Coast, or at least the Northeast right now. New England state's staying pretty quiet here. Showers and storms across Florida, pretty typical for this time of the year, this time of the day. Pretty typical. Pretty dry across the West Coast as well, but of course we're watching right down the center of the U.S., anywhere from the plains all the way off to the Midwest for that next round of storms. Current temperatures, we can feel it in Oklahoma. It feels so much more comfortable today than it did yesterday. 85 here in Oklahoma, 73 in Kansas City. Lucky Kansas City. 73 I'm sure feels amazing. 78 in Denver, 74 in Minneapolis. It's a little bit warmer the farther south and east that you head, closer to that high pressure system. Right now we only have one severe thunderstorm warning across the entire U.S. This is out on the East Coast. You can see this is warned, I think it was for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so mainly a wind maker there, but you may see some small hail in that as well. Temperatures a little bit closer to home here, 88 in Chandler, 89 in Shawnee, 86 in Fort Worth, 85 in Denton. Look, we'll take the 80s any day. Any day it's not 100, we're happy with in August. 89 is your feel-like temperature in Oklahoma City right now. We do have some unstable air out there, especially as we go into the afternoon hours. You're going to see this unstable air get used up by those thunderstorms later on this afternoon and into the evening hours. You could still see a few more showers and storms later on tonight, but I think most of these storms will be wrapping up by this evening. Anywhere from the Midwest all the way down to the East Coast is where we're watching for storms today. That lines up pretty well with that unstable air. What we're not seeing line up today is that hail risk. Oftentimes by this point in the model, we'll see a few spots of yellow here indicating some decent sized hail. We're not seeing that today. That doesn't mean we can't have decent hail out there. That just means we have a pretty low risk. It'll be very, very isolated if we do see any of those larger hailstones. Taking a look at your future radar here, a zoomed out portion of the radar, and then we'll zoom into each place. We'll talk about timing. You can see that a lot of these storms will be over Michigan. There's that line of storms that tracks back as far south as Oklahoma. However, the severe risk is going to be a little bit farther north into the east. And then we also have showers and storms farther down to the southeast here. All right, let's get into your hour by hour. What are you expecting in each place? We're going to start down in Missouri and in Indiana and Illinois, and then we're going to track up to the north here. All right, Missouri, any time between now and through the late night hours. I think that we're going to see pop-up showers and storms through most of the day, right along this line, right in the center portion of the state. The better chance for those severe storms will be anywhere from central Missouri all the way up to the north. And I think that we could see storms early on in the afternoon, all the way through dinner time, maybe an isolated storm or two farther off to the east as we head into the overnight hours. Yesterday I had baseball-sized hail possible. However, today I've lowered those hail sizes just a little bit. I think this will be more of a wind event than anything. Up to 70-mile-per-hour wind speeds is what we can expect anywhere from Missouri all the way out to Illinois and Indiana. But as we head farther up to the north and east, we do see that timing stretch a little bit later on into the afternoon. We're talking more like 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. and that wind speed also goes up to about 80 miles an hour. All right, taking a look down on the East Coast, you can see that those showers and storms will be popping up in a very similar fashion right along the line here, just really near the state lines. You can see those showers and storms stretching from the state line as we head into the afternoon hours. I think these storms will wrap up just a little bit earlier on in the evening. So after dinner time, I think these storms will wrap up. A lot of these storms are going to be driven by the daytime heating. So as the sun starts to set, that heat goes away and the storms lose their energy, they lose their oomph. And I think that the hail sizes for this, maybe 1.5 inches. I was going 1 inch and I upped it just a little bit, but I do think that this will also be more of a wind event, 60 to 70 mile per hour wind speeds here. All right, taking a look a little bit farther north now, Indianapolis all the way into Detroit. This is where you could see some of your larger hailstones. I think 2.5 inch hailstones are possible, but most of us will stay on that smaller side here. Could we have added an orange graphic in here? I was on the fence. Yeah, I think we could have, but I also think that we could see those smaller hailstones. Once again, I do believe that this will be more of a wind event up to the north. We also have that tornado risk in this area as well. So talking about golf ball size hail sizes, I actually meant to move that up a little bit to tennis ball sized hail. And then as we head to look at our wind forecast here, this is, I think, going to be the big story today. I think you could definitely see some stronger wind speeds anywhere from Springfield to Chicago to Detroit. And then you could also see some of those strong wind speeds down to the south and east as well. That doesn't mean you can't see an isolated hailstorm. This is what we saw yesterday just outside of DC. We saw that isolated hailstorm all across Sterling, Virginia. But I think for the most part it will be a wind event today. How many more times can I say wind? All right, let's take a look at those showers and storms farther down towards the Gulf. We're talking about the eastern side of Texas and most of Louisiana. An excessive rainfall outlook today. You can see in just a minute, it'll pull up. We do have some pretty decent levels for excessive rainfall. There you go. So where are the chances for flooding? Most likely the southern side of Louisiana, maybe even eastern Texas. Localized flooding is definitely going to be a hazard here. And last but not least, that tornado risk for today. This is going to hug the eastern side of Michigan. So once again, we could see those isolated tornadoes that are embedded in that line of storms. Very, very difficult to see here because most of those tornadoes will be rain wrapped. So it's very, very difficult to chase. It's also very, very difficult to even see that tornado coming. If something is severe warned in your area, try to stay home. Make sure that you are not out and about during that severe weather. You could not only see high wind with this, but also that embedded tornado. All right, taking a look at what you can see tomorrow for your Saturday, we have another chance for some small hail farther down to the south and east, right along the east coast there. Your future radar here. It looks like we're going to see showers and storms out to the east coast on Saturday, and my clicker just seems to be button happy today, just going through all of my graphics here. Let's take a look at temperatures real quick and then we'll get to the Atlantic. So chance for storms on your Saturday. Temperatures are cooling down anywhere from the western side of the Midwest all the way down to the southern plains. We're very grateful for that here in Oklahoma. Temperatures tomorrow topping out in the 80s here in Oklahoma City. As we head into Monday, we're in the upper 80s out in Denver. We start to warm up just a little bit on the west coast, and then of course we'll start to warm up farther into the central portion of the states as well as we get into next week. But we're going to enjoy the cooler weather while we can. Taking a look at that 7-day outlook for the tropics. Now, I think this is what a lot of people have their eyes on. We kept saying end of August, end of August, end of August, end of August, Atlantic will start to wake up. It is what, the 2 days left in August, and the Atlantic has finally woken up. We have a 50% chance for tropical cyclone development or formation as we head into the next 7 days. This is approaching some of our easternmost islands in the Atlantic here, so we're going to start to see a lot more activity over the next 5 to 7 days. That should say 50. And then as we head, oh, we may not have gone all the way back here. Let me see if I can get maybe, okay, well, another part of this graphic that does not seem to want to pop up here. Do you see this cloud cover over here closer to Africa? Okay, so this is our second area to keep an eye on. We have a 20% chance for tropical development over the next 7 days. So we not only have one area to watch for, but a second area as well. And of course, we'll keep an eye on that for you. All right, are you headed to the football game today? Do you see what I'm wearing? Crimson. Crimson and cream. We're excited for OU football to return. We are holding on to decent weather today. I went ahead and dropped those rain chances, which we're really excited about to stay dry for the game. 10 to 20% chance for rain at the start of the game, but I do think that it'll be dry by halftime. Great news there. Temperatures are gorgeous. 70s, 80s, we'll take it. And hey, if you're coming to the game today, come see us, come say hello. We have a tailgate. This is tailgate number 112. It's right across from gate 12 on Jenkins Avenue. The tailgate starts at 3:30. They've got all the stuff set out in the hallway out here. They're very excited to set up today. And the game time is at 6 o'clock. So we'd love to see you. Come by our tailgate if you can. All right, thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon. We appreciate it. Watch out for those storms across the Midwest and portions of the East Coast today. Tomorrow, storms once again on the East Coast. We'll be tracking it for you. We've always got a meteorologist on staff here at Hail Trace. So if you're interested in any of those maps that we create, give us a call at 855-334-4245. Head over to or email us at info@hailtrace.com or head over to our website, hailtrace.com. Also follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We're very, very active on TikTok here lately. So we appreciate you following and watching our TikToks as well. All right, have a fantastic Friday. We'll see you back here, same time, same place on Monday.